What's up, everybody? I don't know about y'all, but I've never really been big into the appetizers. I'm always big for the main course. And with that being said, the college football playoff main course is here. 7-7 Talk Sports. We're back. Happy holidays. I missed y'all too. Let's go. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the college football main course edition of 7-7 Talk Sports. I am your host, Dorico Gaither. I know it's been a minute, and let me apologize again, man. Listen, life has been life in a little bit. Things have been busy, but hey, we're back for the college football playoff main course. Now, I know a lot of y'all last night had a chance to watch Indiana versus Notre Dame, with Notre Dame coming out on top 27-17. And I call that the appetizer. But today, we got the main course meal today. I don't know about y'all, but I've never really been big into appetizers. I'm all about, hey, let's see what's on, what's really cooking on that stove so we can go ahead and get to eat. So with that being said, the first game that we're going to talk about today kicks off at noon. That is SMU going to take on Penn State. So my questions about this game, man, because you know how we do, we're going to go ahead and jump right on into it. My questions about the SMU and Penn State game is this, right? Can SMU contain Penn State's running game? Because when I look at SMU, they look a little light in the behind, since we're going to keep it on the topic of eating. They look like they need to eat a little bit more when it comes down to their defensive front. With Penn State, we know that Penn State is going to want to come in. They're going to want to play smash mouth football. They're going to want to be very physical, right? And they got the running back in Nate Singleton, who's coming into today's game. He has 838 yards along with 7 touchdowns. So Penn State is going to want to just basically keep it simple, and they are going to want to line you up, and they're going to want to just play smash mouth football. Now, they're also, Penn State I'm talking about, they're also going to want to try to mix things up a little bit, and they're going to want to get to push the football down the field, because they understand that SMU, may be inclined to try to make them as one-dimensional as possible. So when you look at that, if that is the game plan defensively that SMU is going to come into with today's game, my other question that I have is, can Penn State starting quarterback Drew Aller make the big throws down the field? Now, coming into the game, Drew Aller is coming in with 2,894 passing yards with 21 touchdowns against 7 picks, right? And when you talk about Drew Aller, at times he can be very shaky. He really can be very, very shaky at times. He holds on to the football too long sometimes, and sometimes he just makes some really bad reads. But he also has a big safety blanket, which is another thing that SMU is going to have to look out for, and that is their All-American tight end in Tyler Warren. Now, Tyler Warren is coming into this game with 88 catches, 1,062 yards, and 6 touchdowns. If I could compare Tyler Warren to someone right now, and I know that this is big shoes what I'm talking about, but I think Tyler Warren is more so like he's a younger version of a Travis Kelce. You can line him up all over the place. You can throw him in the backfield. You can actually split him out wide. You can have him, hit him with bubble screens, but he is so much more of a threat inside the red zone. And so SMU are going to have their hands full. Now, on the SMU side of the ball, they're going to run, of course, they're going to run that up tempo with their quarterback, Nate Singleton. And, he's going to be looking at trying to throw the football all up and down the field. Now, Rhett Lashley, the head coach for SMU, I know a little bit about Coach Lashley. He's a Gus Malzahn product. And for all of you that's been following us all season, and again, I appreciate that support, you know that I'm a big-time Auburn fan. So Rhett Lashley was actually one of the offensive assistants at Auburn for a little while under Gus Malzahn. So if you know anything about the Gus Malzahn tree, as I would like to call it, a lot of people think that they just want to come out and throw the football 100 times, but they want to give you a bunch of eye candy. They want to make you think that they're going to come out and they're going to throw the football, but they really want to start off first with running the football. And then once they get you sucked into the running game, that's when they want to go up top. Now, I don't know if Rhett Leslie and SMU have the horses right now, to stay up with Penn State in this game and whatnot. So I'm going to go with Penn State by the slightest of margins here. But I think Penn State will do what they need to do to basically, as we say, during March Madness when the college basketball season is going on, we say survive in advance. And I think that Penn State, their physicality is going to wear down SMU a little bit because if you go back to the ACC championship game, and you look at how SMU started out against Clemson, like Clemson's physicality, they got to SMU early, but then SMU was able to turn it on, and it ended up being a damn great game, man. It came down to the kid from Clemson making, I believe it was a 56-yarder to send Clemson for Clemson to wrap up the ACC championship. So, but I like Penn State in this game, I think, and then too with the weather. It's supposed to be, I believe, 27 degrees out there up in Happy Valley, Pennsylvania, and everything today. So I like Penn State to win today, but I'll take them by the slightest of margins. But here's one thing we need to look out for, though, if you are watching this game. James Franklin has to win this game for Penn State. The head coach of Penn State, he has to win this game. And the reason why I say that is because when you talk about James Franklin, right? James Franklin has a history of not being able to win a big game, right? So you got to ask yourself, if SMU comes into Happy Valley today and they pull off the upset and they knock off Penn State, it's James Franklin's job on the line because you can only get away with for so long for not being able to win the big game because James Franklin has had some talent that's came through Happy Valley, but he hasn't been able to turn it to, playing for a national championship or anything like that. So, the seat might get a little warm today or a little bit warmer for James Franklin. But again, man, I'm going to go with Penn State to knock off SMU. Switching gears to the second game of the day today. You have the number 12 seed Clemson Tigers in Austin taking on the 5 seed Texas Longhorns. Now, this game right here is going to come down, honestly, to the matchup of the two quarterbacks. And when you look at, let's start with Clemson. You have their quarterback, Cade Klubnik, who's coming in on the year. He's thrown for 3,300 passing yards. He's got 33 touchdowns against 5 picks, right? And he's going to be matched up against a dominant defensive line in Texas. So when I look at Cade Klubnik on the side of Clemson first, I've watched him a couple of times this season, and I really think that he's going to have a lot of trouble because if you look at Texas defensive line, I'm not saying that they are this team, but y'all just understand what I am saying. When you look at Texas defensive line, they get after you a lot like Georgia defensive line does. Texas has speed out on the perimeter. They can send a bunch of different exotic blitzes and whatnot. And if you go back to the opening game of the year, and I know a lot of y'all are going to say, well, hell, it was the opening game of the year. I get that. But if you go back to the opening game of the year and you look at it, Georgia dominated Clemson 34-3, right? They beat them in Atlanta in the Chick-fil-A kickoff game. And they beat them 34-3. And they just got after Cade Klubnik early. They had him thinking. They had him holding on to the football too long. Georgia knew that Clemson was going to try to come in, and they wanted to go with the RPOs and whatnot. And they were just sitting right there sitting on it because they really said, well, you don't have a threat outside that we really have to concern ourselves with. So I actually think that Texas defensive line and their defensive side of the football, their defensive coordinator, they're going to come in with the same game plan, right? So that's on the Clemson side from the quarterback side of the ball. So let's flip over to the Texas side. Now, Quinn Ewers, right? Quinn Ewers. So I'm gonna give you the same energy that I've been giving Carson Beck all season, right? Quinn Ewers, when are you going to step up and win a big game for for Texas, right? So you had two cracks against Georgia, right? Georgia went into Austin and they beat you 30-15 during the regular season. Then y'all played in the SEC championship game, and Georgia ended up winning that one with Carson Beck getting injured. And a speedy recovery to that young man. I hope everything works out for him. But the question about Quinn Ewers, though, is that for someone that is looking at possibly name being called in the draft in April, Quinn Ewers, at times you look lost. You're holding on to the football way too long. You're not confident in what you're seeing. And so when you look at the SEC championship game, Georgia sacked Quinn Ewers 6 times. And let's go ahead. And I know a lot of y'all Georgia fans out there are going to say, no, it wasn't no luck and woulda, shouldas, and ifs and all this and that. But let's go ahead and keep it 100 here, though, right? Texas had every opportunity to knock off Georgia. And the reason why you could say it didn't happen was because Quinn Ewers, he was really out of sync. You even saw going into halftime, right? Steve Sarkisian. Yeah, he talked about, well, are the referees going to call these holdings and whatnot? But Steve Sarkisian was also saying, is our quarterback going to show up? So, I don't think that this will happen today, but I would not be surprised if we see Manning, the backup quarterback Manning, if we see him come off the bench today, because when you look at that Texas offense, right? The defense gave you everything that they could give you against Georgia. And your defense even got a pick for you. And if the corner would have turned his head and laid the block when the safety got the pick, right? He would have took it to the house. But if you're Texas, you're saying we're laying everything out here on the line. And if our offense start to sputter, like it sputtered against Georgia twice, and even when you go back when Texas played Vanderbilt, if our offense start to sputter a little bit, should we look at Arch Manning coming in off the bench, right? So that's a question I have for you. But at the end, I really think that Texas is going to be too much for Clemson today. I think that Texas is just going to run the football, and they're going to let Quinn Ewers get him rolled out early, get him with some quick screens, try to look to work the middle of the football field and whatnot, and then take his shots down and just try to get his confidence rolling, a little bit. But again, this game right here is really going to be decided by the two quarterbacks. This game could be a high scoring affair, or this game could be a blowout either side. But at the end of the day, I'm going to take Texas in a win. I think playing on the road is that home field advantage that they're going to have in Austin is really going to it's really going to favor Texas and whatnot today. So I like Texas to basically survive and advance and move on to the quarterfinal round and everything of the tournament that we have going on, the college football playoff that we have going on. So the last game for the college football playoff that we have scheduled for today, actually tonight, is it's really an interesting game. You have the number 9 Tennessee Volunteers in Columbus, Ohio, to take on the number 8 Ohio State Buckeyes. Now, this game here, it's got a lot of, it's a heavy one tonight. Number one of my biggest questions is when it comes down to this game is which quarterback is going to show up, right? So of course on Tennessee side you have Nico Iyamalea, right? And Nico has had some he's had a real he's had a kind of a roller coaster type season when you look at it. I expected Nico to come in and really put up much better numbers coming into this season, but I also have to remember this is his first time being a full-fledged starter, right? So, he's played well at times. He's played great, but he's also played well at times. And so when you look at it, of course, Josh Heupel, the head coach of Tennessee, he's going to want to run that quick tempo. He's going to want to get the ball out quick, get these guys going out on the perimeter and whatnot. He's going to want to run the football, and he's going to want to kind of control the clock as much as he possibly can and try to wear Ohio State down. My concern for Tennessee, though, is defensively, right? Because I see a lot of times, I think to me, the best game defensively that Tennessee played this year was at home when they beat Alabama 24-17. You know, they got after Milroe. They held down Ryan Williams. You know, like Ryan Williams has some catches, but he wasn't really that big of a threat in that game against Alabama. So I'm interested to see if Tennessee's defense, if they will, if they're going to come, if they're really going to bring it tonight. And also, I want to see how Tennessee, fares in the run game, because if you turn around and if they become completely one-sided and just let Nico drop back to throw the ball, 45, 50 times tonight, I don't think that bodes well for Tennessee at all. I think Tennessee will be playing a lot of catch up if that ends up being the game plan. Now let's flip over here to the Ohio State side of the ball, right? Ohio State, right? It's you're looking at a team right now that honestly if you ask me, Ohio State is the biggest enigma in this entire in this entire college football playoff. And the reason why I say that is because we're talking about a team that lost to Michigan 13-10, right? The offense looked terrible. The quarterback, Will Howard, who transferred from Kansas State, right? He played one of his worst games of the season. I mean, they couldn't run the football, they couldn't make the plays, the special teams and whatnot. I believe they missed 3 field goals in the game against Michigan. And all of this was at home. And so when you look at it, when you see things like that happening, that tells me that's a team that's tight, right? They're afraid to go out and play. They're overthinking things too much, and they're taking on the identity of the head coach. So when you look at Ryan Day, Ryan Day was the offensive coordinator for Urban Meyer before he was basically handed the job at Ohio State. Let's go ahead and call it like we see it. He was handed the job, aka given the job at Ohio State once Urban Meyer left. Ohio State hasn't won a national championship since 2014, if I'm not mistaken, the 2014-2015 season, right? And when you look at it, right, you have to ask yourself, and they haven't even won their conference championship since I believe 2020 was the last time that they won a conference championship. So Ohio State in this age of the NIL and all the transfers and the money that these college guys are playing, Ohio State has the highest paid roster out of any team in college football. So if we're going to equate that to what's going on in the NFL, right? Let's just say it like this. Ohio State, if there was a salary cap, Ohio State will be over the salary cap. But yet and still, they didn't play for a conference championship because they lost to Michigan. They lost to Oregon on the road earlier in the year in a game that they should have won, in a game that I actually picked them to win. But Will Howard made bonehead plays down the stretch, right? And the word out of Columbus is the fans are sick and tired of Ryan Day coming up short in big games, right? He's 1-4 against Michigan as a head coach. And for all of you that know anything about rivalries, with that rivalry there, you cannot lose to Michigan like that all the time. Okay, if he was, let's just say out of 5 games, if he was 3-2, okay, bet he's got a winning record against their most hated rival. But he's 1-4 against Michigan. And then when other big games come around, Ryan Day and his ball club seems to come up short. So the fans are already reeling right now. Your football team is reeling. And I get what Ryan Day is saying. Yeah, we're ready to, put all our focus here for the college football playoff. We got a chance to win a national championship. All we got to do is win 4 games and we're national champions and everything. Okay, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. But also, you want to know what is the mental psyche of this football team early. And here's my question. Let's say opening drive, Ohio State comes out and they go 3 and out on the opening drive. And Tennessee comes down and they score a touchdown on opening drive. That's going to tell us a lot what we need to know, because you got a team right now who's not really as confident as they're trying to make everyone believe. And honestly, guys, I'm going to tell y'all this. If Ohio State, well, let me say it like this. I'm taking Tennessee to win this game tonight, right? If Ohio State loses this game tonight, how do you justify holding on to Ryan Day as your head coach? I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, he's 66-10 against everybody. Yeah, that's what's up. But this is my question. What have you done for us lately? That's the question. What has Ryan Day as the head coach done for Ohio State lately? You could be 66-10, you can do all this and that, but you're 1-4 against Michigan, right? You haven't played for a national championship. You haven't won your conference championship in 4 seasons. But yet your university is spending all this money on these players to bring them in. And let's not get this twisted. Ryan Day has talent at Ohio State. He has a lot of talent. But at the end of the day, I'm going to go with Tennessee. I'm not even going to really call this an upset, because when you look at their seedings, they're kind of two balanced teams. But I like Tennessee to go into the horseshoe tonight, and I like for Tennessee to finish off a great day, of college football and everything, and and just go with it like that. So I was going to talk a little bit about the program, but I've just been so excited about this, the matchups and everything with the college football playoff and everything, man. And I'm just really looking forward to it. So, hey, look, that's my quick rant. And I'll definitely get back with y'all, man, and we'll do another episode talking about a recap, just basically what my thoughts are, and going into the second round. Hey, but listen, I just want to again say thank y'all for the support. And hey, we're ready here. We're back. 7-7 Talk Sports. I missed y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all go watch those games. And look, it's the holiday season, the end of the year, man. Enjoy the time with those that you love, man. Whether it's family, it's friends, your neighbors, yourself. Enjoy that time, man, because tomorrow ain't promised and everything. And hey, continue to put one foot in front of the other. It's amazing that 2025 is right around the corner. We're going to continue to take this thing where we want to take it, man. And hey, much love to y'all. Go watch them games today. Y'all know what it is. 7-7 Talk Sports. Your boy gone. Y'all holla at me. I'm gone. Holla.